We've had warnings today from supermarket bosses and the Association of Convenience Stores that there is going to be a black hole. Now, they've put a figure on it. It's about $5 billion. That's not a figure that Jim Chalmers confirmed this morning, but he did say it would be significant. Joining me live now is the Association Chief Executive now, Theo. Theo, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it. $5 billion.
Thanks, Laura.
Is this your figure? How did you get to it?
Look, the figure is made up of a couple of sources. Firstly, a KPMG report estimates that about $3.5 billion per annum is being lost in tobacco excise. So that's illegal tobacco being imported into the country that isn't being caught at the border, but being sold on the street through illegitimate retailers. That's first part. The second part is we now have over 1.3 million adults who are using nicotine vapes regularly, and that equates to, so obviously it's all illegal. It's coming in undetected from the border. There's no tax being paid on this. There's no GST or import duties. There's an independent report that's been commissioned, which puts that value at $1.7 billion over the forward estimate. So wow. The figures are real, and Australians are spending their money on these unregulated products. And unfortunately, until the government gets serious about both tobacco and illicit vaping in terms of regulation, the problem is only going to become bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. I take great heart in the words of Jim Chalmers today. He says he is totally concerned about the explosion in vaping. He sees kids doing it. You know, all of this is anecdotal at the moment, but he says all hands are on deck as well. The federal government is speaking to the state governments, and that absolutely needs to happen. Theo, what are your members telling you in terms of feedback? Because these vapes aren't cheap to start with. What are they? About $40 each at the moment. Who's buying it?
Yeah, look, they're about, they range in price, but they're about $40 each. The biggest challenge that we have with nicotine vaping products is they're unregulated. The government has lost complete control. They're being sold by unscrupulous retailers to anyone, including children. We don't know what's in them, and the only way that this can be addressed moving forward is the government to implement really tight regulation around product standards, ingredients disclosure, and they need to give the 1.3 million adults the opportunity to buy regulated products through responsible retailers. You can't ignore the black market. It's here, it's mainstream. You only need to walk through any CBD during any day of the week and you can see it everywhere. And unfortunately, what we have is we have adults who are trying to stop smoking, and they're buying these unregulated products freely available, and ultimately they're stealing from legitimate operators who are law-abiding citizens paying their taxes. And it's not just these products. What we're having is Australians no longer buying a cup of coffee or a sandwich or their grocery items from our stores. So small businesses and large are really being affected in this space because the government has failed to actually stand up, regulate an out-of-control market and actually get control of it. So change is hard, you know, and it's very difficult for a government to sort of accept that this is now mainstream. And I'm not a health expert, but what I do know is legitimate retailers and unfortunately Australians, along with children, are getting access through a black market that the government has no control over.
Theo, you mentioned something before that, you know, adults are vaping to get off smoking. I mean, can we just put a line in that right now? This is being pushed by those who want to see more vaping, that it's somehow better for you, that it's better than smoking. Well, vaping has no restrictions on it. You can do it anywhere. I mean, people aren't even getting out of bed and vaping. Some people are going to sleep with them at night. And anecdotally, I've heard that people are getting back onto cigarettes in order to quit vaping. Is this the kind of thing that your members are telling you? If you're seeing cigarette sales markedly go down, I mean, this whole idea that there's some kind of health benefit to vaping is just a joke.
So, Laura, I'm not a health expert. We're a retail industry body representing retailers. And unfortunately, in Australia, what we have is Australia is an outlier. They're the only developed market around the world that has a prescription model for nicotine vaping. In overseas countries like the UK and as close as New Zealand, their health departments actually have adopted this as the best form of quit smoking that exists today. Now, what does that mean for us here in Australia? It means that we already have a banned product. Technically, it is, unless you have a prescription from a doctor, it's banned. And it falls under the same rules
that's
as smoking.
not working. Yeah,
absolutely. So
that's
you shouldn't
not
be
working.
smoking.
And
you shouldn't be smoking.
If you're smoking bubblegum ice or blueberry ice.
And we agree with you, Laura. What we want to eliminate is all of these ridiculous flavors. We need to move to a model that actually regulates the product, because ultimately
you're right, Theo.
You've got people that are targeting children, and it's just not on.
Yep. Theo Foukkare, it's great to have you on the program. Really appreciate it. We'll speak to you soon.